prepare, respond, serve. This is 5 Stone. The contents of this podcast are the personal opinions and views of 5 Stone and our affiliates. This is not a recommendation for medical practice or a guide for decision making or even to take place for your own personal judgment. We recommend that you always seek out in-person professional training and always follow your established policies and procedures. Now, with that said, let's get after it. We're back.
Yeah.
Back in the saddle. Back for another good motivation.
Back in the saddle. Who sings that?
Back in the saddle. That's
Aerosmith. Back in the saddle.
Back in the saddle again. Yeah, my bad. Yeah. Whatever. We've been doing music
thing all day.
Yeah, I'm not hip on music trivia. Yeah. Anyway, here we are for another Motivation Monday, and this is a good one. This one's titled Boat Flip. Boat Flip and shared sense of purpose. Now, put yourself here. You ready? Close your eyes and get yourself, if you're listening, unless you're driving, don't close your eyes. But put yourself in this situation, okay? It's January. It's 20 to 30 degrees. You're standing on a riverbank.
I already hate it.
The water is rushing. It's a strong current. It is freezing cold. You're freezing cold. You got all the warm gear you can possibly get on. You've got a dry suit on, but you're still cold. It is still 20 degrees next to the water. And then all of a sudden your team leader says, I need a 3-man team here now. So each of you step towards the riverbank. As you start stepping in the water, the ice starts cracking under your boots as you enter this frozen riverbank. The team leader says, you 3, get in the raft, inflatable river raft. Paddle out, midstream, cross current. When you get out there, flip your boat over and get in the water. All right. So
you missed me with that.
That was our instructions. Now, to be fair and to be transparent, no longer do special operations rescue. Honestly, I still wish I did. Whenever I was finished up my school, I stopped doing it. But it was a passion of mine. I loved it. One of the favorite things I've ever done in my entire life. I love doing it. And this is a story about this. But this is a boat flip story about what it means to have a shared sense of purpose. So let's continue on with this story. Put yourself there. 3 people. You're one of the 3 in a boat in the winter, snowing and freezing cold water in a rushing river, and you have to look at each other and go, we got to jump out of this boat.
He goes against everything in you.
Yeah. We're going to jump out of this boat and get into this river right now. So even if you got a dry suit on, it doesn't matter. It's still cold.
It still sucks.
So you have to flip your boat as you go in the water. You're not just jumping in the water. You have to flip your boat upside down. So there's a certain set of orders. It was, number 1, stay with your team. Keep eyes on your teammates. Don't lose your teammates. Stay with your team. Number 2, don't lose your oars. Don't lose your paddle.
That's
okay.
Pretty good rule.
Yeah. And number 3, get back in your boat. And number 4, complete the mission. Okay? So, here we go. All 3 of us are out here on this boat. And we're looking at each other like, all right, we got to flip this boat over. So, all 3 of you stand on one side of the boat to make it, top heavy, on one side. You've got your oars, you got your paddles in your hand, and you reach over and you grab the other handles on the other side. And you're trying to balance. First off, you're floating down a river with some pretty strong current.
Yeah.
And your adrenaline's going, you're shaking, you're anxious, you're nervous. And all of a sudden it's just like, and go. And you all lean backwards and just into this river. The cold hits your face. It takes your breath. You're just like, and you're like, okay, where's my team at? Where's my team at? It's number 1 rule. Everybody's here. Everybody good. Everybody's like, yeah, we're good. Everybody got your oars, got your paddles. Yeah, man, we got them. All right. Link back up on the boat. All right. Number 3 is get back in your boat. So put yourself here. How you going to do this? You can't touch it ain't like you're in a pool.
Yeah.
You can't touch the bottom.
And you're moving.
And you're moving.
Yeah.
Okay. And you got your life jacket on, your BCD, and you're like floating there, right? So, and mind you, if you're sitting here, if you can't see what I'm trying to do, if you're listening to the audio podcast, you're floating in the river, and the boat's like even with your face. So it's not like you're up high.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? The boat's up here, and you're holding on to this thing with your paddle and your teammates, and everybody's floating down this river. And needless to say, sometimes this is done at night in the dark, so it's even worse. All right. So you're holding on to this thing, and you're like, we got to get. How are we going to do this to get back in the boat? Because now the boat's upside down. I can't like jump because I'm floating in water, bobbing like a bobber. So how are we going to get up there? Here's the strategy. First off, you're looking for your safety risk, right? So you're like, okay, there's debris coming down here, tree limbs, whatever else
Rocks.
coming at us. Yeah. Other people. What else is happening? Are we going to crash into a tree that's hanging over in the river? Is there, whatever else? Because that's very deadly. This is extremely dangerous drill, but it's really a situation that happens. That's why we were taught this. You're in freezing temperatures, icy cold water, rapid currents, floating debris. It's loud. People are screaming. You can't see. You're trying to talk. You got the waves hitting you in your mouth, and you're trying to scream and to communicate with each other. It's just really hard to get anything done with all these distractions. It's like legit real life dangers. So the first thing you have to do is get an established sense of purpose. Right? You have to start communicating. You're like, all right, guys, we got some teamwork here. Our goal is this, correct? This is our sense of purpose, is to get back in this boat. Ultimately, that last task was complete your mission, right? Yeah. But we got to get in this boat so we can help other people. So what you do is you take, let's say it's me and you and Blake. Now, Blake, our videographer, he's still on special ops. So if I got anything wrong, please correct me, okay?
It's been all right so far.
so far we're good. So he may jump in there and be like, "No, you're totally wrong." But here's we go. So we got. Let's say it's me and you and Blake, right? So we're floating down this river. We need to get one of us on top of this boat that's upside down.
Yeah.
How are we going to do it?
I figure one of you have to climb.
Yeah. So
I've never done this. I don't do water. I've been asked to be on special operations teams before, and like I don't care to dive, I don't care to do confined space, ropes, all that stuff. But swift water, I've got a problem with that. I don't have it in me, bud.
Everybody's got a problem with it.
I don't have it in
Nobody
me.
likes it.
I don't have it in me.
It's not like, oh yeah, hey, I can't wait to go jump in this raging river in freezing cold water. Yeah. So here we are. So we got to get somebody on top of this capsized boat.
Yep.
And keep our paddles and keep each other together. So what you have to try to do is work together to hey, let me see your boot, and try to get your boot up on my waist or something. But whenever he pushes up, say we're trying to get Blake up there, we try to push him up on this boat. He's pushing us down.
Yeah.
Ain't like you can just take him and hoist him in the air because you sink.
No resistance. Yeah.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? There's no resistance to it. So you have to get them kind of both together, and both of you get them up the high as you can. So Blake, per se, has climbed on top of this upside down raft, floating down the river, trying to dodge debris and keep us all together. He stands up, okay, or he's kneeling, whatever the situation is, on this upside down inflatable riverboat, okay, floating down the river, surfing down the river, okay, looking down at us, trying to make sure that he's got a better view now, making sure everybody's okay. He's watching out for obstacles we may be coming into. Yeah. And he's like, we got to get somebody else up here. Right? So his job now is to kneel back down or to get down, belly crawl, whatever, to get towards the end to try to get that second person. So now you're trying to put another person in on top of the capsized boat by yourself.
Yeah.
Except for you got somebody with a little bit of leverage up top trying to pull. Right? So after you've finally managed to get the number two man up on top of the capsized boat, now you're both up there. Here's where it gets crazy. So one person is still in the river by themselves, holding on the side of the boat, still trying to keep up with the paddles. And the other two are up there trying to communicate, watching for obstacles, and trying not to fall off this boat while you're surfing down the river. Okay? So what you do is, now they've got two paddles. So they reach over and they lock their paddles into the handles on the side of the raft, right? Mm-hmm. And the person in the water is holding on to the boat. Those two people with their oars locked in to the handles, on the count of three, lean backwards, and fall back into the river.
I figured that's where I was going.
While the person in the water gets thrown into the boat that is now the right way up.
Yeah.
So now you're back to one person in the boat, two people in the water. But at least the boat's turned the right way.
Right.
So then you got to get, again, the person in the boat and the water's got to throw the other person in the boat while the person in the boat pulls them in. Then you get your next person in. Then, whenever all three of you are in, you still got to complete your mission. So you're tired, you're exhausted, you're fatigued, you're stressed, you're wore out. But in order to accomplish all that, you have to have that combined strategy. You know what I'm saying? That's what you got to do. Yeah.
Yep.
You got to have that sense of purpose, that shared sense of purpose. So takeaway points from that is, despite whatever your stresses are, whatever your hazards are, whatever the dangers are, whatever changing situations, fluent situations might be, it's teamwork, communication, that shared sense of purpose of everybody being on the same page to get something done as a team. You know,
Yep.
you have to keep your eyes open. You have to be alert of pending threats, what could possibly come around that corner, anything else to keep your teammates safe. Because if you protect the person next to you and everybody does that, then you're going to be protected.
Yeah.
You know, so you got communication. You try to communicate in that type of a situation. You're looking at verbal communication, nonverbal communication, body language, signaling, things like that. You got to be able to be free to speak and say what you want and have your ego gone.
Yep.
A lot of the problems with, say it's a first response agency or say it's whatever it is, there's a lot of egos that come into play. Nobody wants to be wrong. Nobody wants to be incorrect. Somebody wants to be in charge and take over the situation. Mm-hmm. Then that makes other people not want to speak up or have their voice heard.
Right.
And then that leads to increased dangers and
that's
threats.
a problem everywhere.
Yeah. And that strategic planning, knowing what your plan is before you get out there, and then instinctive planning on the fly.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Establishing maybe somebody to take charge. I'm on the boat. I can see downstream. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. I can see upstream where we've come from. You take that into perspective. Yeah. You know, I can see our threats and I can see what we've overcome. Here's what's coming up. I'm going to take charge on this situation so we can do this, and being able to do that. So how do you feel like that, and maybe in your own situation, your life or whatever, that maybe that has applied in your situation, or how can others?
There's a couple situations in my career. I was on a special operations team, but again, I didn't do the water thing. I made that very clear. I was out on the water. But your search and rescue and your rope rescue, stuff like that, and trench training. I remember doing all those trainings with that team, middle of the summer, and just like everybody's miserable. And, your scenario is you've got a guy down, on this top of this cliff, and you've got to get him down to get him to the hospital or whatever. And I remember as a team hiking up Otter Creek Hill in northern Hardin County, and then packing one of our coworkers out of the woods, and you thought you were going to die. But like everybody had the same mission. Yep. Everybody was miserable. You don't necessarily, have a pre-plan on stuff like that because you never know what you're going to run into.
Right, yeah.
But you know how to read the situations.
Yeah.
Reading situations is critical thinking on the fly is a pretty big deal in those scenarios. And working, something else that came to mind is working with a SWAT team. I can't really talk much about it, but when you enter a structure, working corners, how you proceed into a room.
Yeah.
Your goal is, like you said, protect your buddies. So, we use what's called plating. If your buddy's taking a certain angle, then you want to move along with them, and you use your plate, your armor, to protect your buddy's side, flank, or backside, or whatever. So, basically everything we do is about, getting the mission done and protecting your team at all costs.
Right. That's kind of what I got as one of the last things, the shared sense of purpose is completing the mission.
Yeah.
I got that big bold and red right here. You're never done.
Yeah.
And one thing that they taught us on the special ops team was we are special ops, so nobody's coming for us.
Yeah.
They call us when it gets bad.
Yeah.
Because nobody else can do it.
Remember that someone I posted a while back, it's nobody's coming.
It's up to us, yeah. It's up to us. Nobody's coming.
That's our job.
Yeah, that's what they'd say. So it's up to us.
Yeah.
Nobody's coming, so you got to make sure we can figure this out. When you get put in that situation, I think it really pushes you to your limits.
Yeah.
If you got a way out, if you've got a backup plan or somebody that can come bail you out with a phone call or whatever, it's kind of like screaming over to the bank like, hey, chief, what am I supposed to do?
Yeah.
Best thing is like, figure it out.
Yeah, you don't always have that lifeline.
Yeah, you've got to have that critical thinking skill and that communication. But why are you even in the boat?
Yep.
Why are you even in the river?
Yep.
Why are you even in the situation that you're in?
Yep.
Why are you in your relationship? Why are you in your job? Why are you where you are right now? If you look at that right there can push you, I think, to strive to overcome a lot of those challenges and look at the people around you and be like, you know what? We can get this shared sense of purpose going.
Yeah.
Maybe it's relationship
I agree.
stuff. I don't know. Maybe it's, problem with you and your wife, whatever. It's like, man, this is our shared sense of purpose. Our goal is to make it through this.
Yeah.
We didn't plan for life to happen this way. Maybe there's illness or cancer or whatever else, but this is what we've been handed. Like 2020, COVID, man.
Yeah.
Here we are, 2021. It just keeps on going.
Figure it out.
It's like, hey, we didn't plan for this, but we got to adapt and overcome.
Yeah. And just, as your partner in EMS, if you hit a hard patch with you and your partner or your fire crew on a fire truck, if you don't work that out, that'll affect the mission.
Absolutely will, man.
If you got a fire crew going to a house that you can't see your hand in front of your face and maybe you got beef with one of your crew members, that could affect how you respond, to if they need help, or whatever.
Yeah, being flexible and being adaptable. Mike Tyson said, everybody's got a plan till you get punched in the face.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? You can be highly trained, have skills, have technique, have all your whole entire life planned out, your finances, your retirement dates, your kids you're gonna have this many kids, they're gonna graduate school, they're gonna be successful, and they're gonna do this. You got all these plans, and it's great until you get punched in the face.
Yeah.
And everything changes.
Yeah,
You know what I'm saying?
Bro, like every mission you go on, whether it be an EMS on a SWAT team or a structure fire or whatever, a traffic stop, man, there's always that punch in the face that, ooh, I wasn't expecting that.
Yeah.
And you guys got that old saying, roll with the punches. Go with the flow.
I literally got punched in the face one time doing a special operations drill. And I don't know if, Blake, I don't know if you remember this or not, but I was the victim. So I went upstream, got in the river, was floating down.
Oh, okay. This is live bait drills then.
Yeah. I can't remember. Zach, that's who it was. Yeah, I'm sure Zach won't care about mentioning his name, but it was Zach. So Zach's job, because I had all my martial arts training, so like, hey, jump in, be a little combative, but don't lose control. You know what I'm saying? Like, just kind of let them try to settle you in, because in those situations, you got somebody that's just out of control. If you got to hit them, if you got to dunk them, if you got to do whatever to get them to kind of come back to reality, so you can help them.
Yeah,
that's what you got to do. Or otherwise, you're both going to die. So I go upstream. I get in the water. I'm coming down, dude. I'm playing the part. I'm like, help, somebody help me, Lord help me. And I'm just like playing the part, man, just giving it all I got. And I'm floating down the stream. And I see him say, I'm a rescue swimmer. I'm coming to help you. He jumps in. He's combat swimming, man, getting that angle coming right towards me. And I'm like, all right, man, I'm going to mess this dude up, So here he comes at me, and I start struggling, start fighting. And I'm like, like pushing him under and grabbing his gear and slinging him and just panicking and flapping my arms. I won't let him control me. You know what I'm saying? I got more training, so he tries to grab me, and I'll just come out of his little grab, whatever, And we're floating down the river.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Just like dark, there's lights out, and he's just like, bloop, bloop, and I'm dunking him, and he's fighting. Dude, out of nowhere, he punches me in the ear. I don't know if you've ever been punched in the ear, But if you've been punched in the ear in the middle of January in a frozen river,
That's bad news.
dude, your ear's like glass.
Yeah.
It feels like it's going to shatter and fall off of your head. Dude, that was the worst pain. I had a plan. I was like, here's what I'm going to do. When he comes out here, I'm going to wrestle him. I'm going to take him down. I'm going to do this. And then I'll give in about this point, and then he can take me over to the shore. You know what I'm saying? No. I had a plan until I literally got punched in the face.
Plan.
Yeah. He punched me right in the ear, and I was like, oh, my. What's that, Fight Club? Remember Fight Club where he gets punched in the ear or whatever? Yeah, it was just like that. I was like, you punched me in the ear. He's like, well, you wouldn't chill out. Yeah, it was pretty funny. But yeah. Anyway,
patients are always better when they're unconscious.
Another thing is being comfortable, being uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Because in those situations you have to be okay with not being in control sometimes. No, I wouldn't say in control, but not being comfortable in your comfort zone.
You won't grow in your comfort zone.
Oh, heck no, you won't. No. I think that's super important, man. To understand that you have to get uncomfortable in order to get better.
Yeah. That's something, of course, I listen to David Goggins a lot, and that's kind of his motto. If it sucks, you probably should do it.
Yeah.
So, that's, one of the memories on Facebook come up, and it was just something, I was having some career problems, and I related to video games. And I said, in my experience of playing video games, if you keep running into enemies, you're going the right direction. And I think, was it FDR that said if you've made enemies, that's good. That means you stood up for something.
Yeah.
So same thing. It's if you run into obstacles, if you're making enemies or whatever, you're probably doing the right thing.
Yep. I've also heard people say if you're the smartest person in the room, you're in the wrong room.
Yeah. Yes. Absolutely.
That carries a lot of weight because people want to be where they feel they're in control, where they're in charge, they're comfortable, they're the elite, they got everything how they want it done. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You're in the wrong place if you're not ready to grow and be able to willing to be like, yeah, I'm the dumbest person in this room.
Yeah.
I'm first up to tell you that. I'll be right there, man. Like, I don't know half what y'all know. Can I hang out with y'all so y'all can teach me what to do?
Exactly.
That's the way I am. You know what I'm saying? That's the way
I want to learn.
Everybody should be, yeah.
And everything.
Yep. Shared sense of purpose, the boat flip. So if you're out there and you're struggling, and maybe it's your relationship, maybe it's your job, your career, your coworkers, your partner on the street, maybe the military, whatever it is, think about that. Think about that boat flip drill that we just explained. A shared sense of purpose. How do you overcome your challenges? How do you be fluid? How do you be adaptable? How do you communicate? How do you have the teamwork? It's being humble. And it is establishing that shared sense of purpose so everybody is on the same page with the same mission.
Yeah.
And just because you overcome that one obstacle, you still got to complete your mission, is to go and finish that rescue.
Yeah.
Or to finish your job, whatever the job might be. So
I like it.
Good deal. Shared sense of purpose. Thanks, guys, for checking us out again on Five Stone. Our website's fivestoneusa.com. Please take the time to like the video, comment on the video, subscribe, and please share these things.
Yep.
Share our podcast, our audio podcast. That helps us to get the word out. We're doing this to try to reach other people, to be motivational, to be encouraging, and try to touch other people so the chain continues. And without it being shared and passed on, it's really hard to do. So we need that more than anything. So if you want to support us, there's links below where you can get some awesome killer coffee from Brewed Coffee in Lexington. And
it's awesome.
Yeah, some of those proceeds come over to us so it can kind of help us to get new gear and equipment and things like that to kind of keep this project going for you guys. So we appreciate you guys' support and look forward to talking to you guys next time. Out. This has been a production of Five Stone. I'd like to thank you guys for taking the time to check out our podcast and video cast today. You can check us out online at fivestoneusa.com. That's the number 5, fivestoneusa.com. We are also on all the social media platforms. Our podcasts are now live. Video casts are on YouTube, and our audio podcasts are on Apple, Spotify, Stitcher, Amazon Music, all the major podcast platforms. Thank you guys. Again, we cannot thank you much for all your support and all that you do for us. Remember, prepare, respond, and serve, because someday you might be that first responder.